Can I just wish you once again a very happy Christmas. And just on a personal note, I'd like to thank the Cathedral community for making me so very welcome, both here at St Mary's, but also in the diocese and in Scotland since I arrived here from Manchester at the very end of April. These have been just wonderful months for me, and thank you for embracing this new ministry. I'm so grateful to everybody, and delighted that I can be here among you today as your new bishop on Christmas Day. Some of you will remember this that I'm going to talk about today. You will remember some years ago, a melancholic singer covered a Smiths single called Please, Please, Let Me Get What I Want. The soundtrack was put together with a 90-second film that changed the face of global advertising forever. This 90-second cameo, this Smiths cover, and this 90-second film passed 1 million hits on the first day. And when I last looked, it was many, many million times this 90-second advertisement had been viewed online. The 90 seconds of music and film were entitled The Long Wait, and it followed the daily life of a young boy as he rather impatiently counted down the remaining days until Christmas. And if some of you have got children with you this morning, you'll know exactly how they have been behaving, and perhaps you've had that 5 o'clock call with a sack this morning. But if you don't have children with you this Christmas, you'll remember it from when you were children. That anticipation and the way it builds during Advent. And because we're all familiar with the childhood experience of waiting for Christmas, the film presents a very easy hook into visceral past memories that we all hold on to, as each new day brings us closer to a sack full of presents and longed-for dreams. Now, this 90-second film had such an impact that psychologists were commissioned to look into exactly why it was having such an emotional impact. And what they did was that for each second of the film, they plotted time against a scale called engagement, which records the emotional impact of each second of those 90 seconds. And when they did that, what they found was that emotional engagement was low at the very beginning, but slowly rose as the film hooked the audience into memories of their own impatient waiting for Christmas morning. But then, quite suddenly, 10 seconds before the end of the story, there is this enormous emotional spike. And this spike, apparently, is quite unprecedented in the whole history of global advertising. And it pointed to an enormous emotional catharsis that is instantly subverting and emotionally satisfying. Do any of you remember this advert? Do any of you have the faintest idea what I'm talking about? Not yet. Wait. The peak moment where there's this huge spike coincides with our protagonist, the little boy, jumping out of bed on Christmas morning. The audience has been lulled into a familiar narrative. The child will spring out of his bed, yes? What will he then do? Rip open his presents, yes? Surrounded by smiling parents, yes? But that's not how the film concludes. And this is where the spike comes. In the final seconds of the film, our expectations are beautifully subverted. The child rushes into his parents' bedroom, straight past the pile of gifts at the bottom of his own bed, and in his arms, he is clutching a gift, not for him, but for them, his parents. The psychologist's engagement chart goes off the scale as the simple phrase is revealed on the screen, "For gifts you can't wait to give." A very ordinary 3-bedroom semi, a very ordinary domestic setting, a very ordinary Christmas, in a way we all understand and appreciate and remember, but deeply and possibly unwittingly spiritual. The final 10 seconds was a moment of pure grace that took everyone watching by surprise. The gift was not for him, it was for them. During Advent, we've heard the prophets impatiently counting down the days, like an Advent calendar of prophecy. We've watched as angels descend to earth and announce to Mary with faint heart and quivering wings that she will bear a son, a child who will be a gift to all of humanity. We've listened as our cathedral choir has sung and retold the magical story of their journey to Bethlehem, their months of watching and waiting as the child grows in her womb. Like an Advent calendar of expectation, Mary's child has grown inside of her. And then, as the carols tell us at least, one frosty night in a stable in the city of David, surrounded by shepherds, angels, and stable animals of a family farm, a gift is given. But this is only the half of it. Like the start of the film, this is what we expect to hear at Christmas. We expect the baby to be born. We expect to receive the greatest gift of all time on Christmas morning as the Christ child lets out his first tender cries. But what we forget, and what our short film reminds us, is that there is another Christmas story, not down here on earth, not with a cast of wise men and shepherds and stables. It's an altogether different side of the same story. Because what that short 90-second film reminds us is that up in heaven, there on Christmas morning, God is like the little boy who leaps out of bed. In his arms is a gift he's been longing to give since the dawn of time. He's been counting down the days, and it's felt like an eternity. But now, today, the time is right. The morning has come. The angels announce it with the blast of trumpets. God gives the gift. And as the Christ child is laid in his manger, we see God. The camera pans out, and we close with the caption, "For gifts you can't wait to give." Amen.